and welcome to Bridge the Gap 2020. I am Kelly Packnett, and I am your host, and we are so excited that you are here with us. Whether you're joining us live or on the replay, we just want to thank you that you are here, and we want to hear from you. So in the comments below, be sure to let us know where you're watching from, who you're watching with, and how you know about Bridge of Grace. And don't forget, we love emojis and thumbs up, so be sure to include those as you're going. We have some awesome people in the back who are ready to field your comments, so be sure to keep those ladies busy. This is our annual fundraiser, Bridge the Gap. We're usually together in a big room, but as with most things this year, it's a little different. But we are so excited to present to you a week-long fundraiser. And we're going to be joining you every single day live to let you know more about Bridge the Gap and Bridge of Grace. So, as I said, it's a fundraiser. We've made giving really easy. So just log on to our website, bridgeofgracecmc.org, and in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click Donate Now. And if you have any questions, let the ladies know, and they'll be able to help you in any way. So today we have a wonderful show for you. We are going to be focused on the Southeast Fort Wayne. We're going to start with our CEO and founder, Javier Mondragon. We're also going to tell you a little bit about our COVID response and what that looks like. And then Raina Bradley from Bridge of Grace is going to be interviewing Kara Hackett from Input Fort Wayne, and that should be absolutely incredible. So first, we're going to go to a great video of two community leaders here in Fort Wayne who are going to share why they choose to invest with Bridge of Grace.
I'm Curtis Smith, sitting here with Mark Robinson, the CEO of Brotherhood Mutual. So Mark, let's talk about Bridge of Grace specifically. What is it about this ministry and this work that appeals to you so much?
They take the concept of discipleship a whole nother level. So when you talk about ministry and discipleship, it's about who we are and what we're doing, but so many times we settle in the pews and we talk about it. Where Bridge of Grace actually goes to the street literally and adopts houses and neighborhoods and making sure that they're working with their neighbors to improve the living conditions, improve the look of their facilities, improve the lifestyle opportunities that they have there. It's not a ministry where they're learning, it's a ministry where they're doing and then learning, right? And I just love that aspect of it.
There's a huge part of what they do that strikes me as it's modeled after Jesus. He met people where they were. He met their physical needs, their earthly needs, oftentimes before he would address the greater, the eternal, the spiritual need.
Yeah, that's exactly right. If we're not even taking care of having a safe place to live and a nice place to live, right? I mean, why is it just safe? Why can't it look good too? That's what we all want. So if we can't even get to that level, how can we do anything else? So it really does play in there.
Chuck, let's talk about Bridge of Grace. I know this is something that you're passionate about, not just this organization, but what they do, the side of town they're doing it in, the people they're helping. Why are you so passionate about what they're doing?
Absolutely. I got to meet Javier several years ago, and I just loved his vision, and it's been so amazing to watch over the last few years, to watch his vision come into reality. And I know that Javier and his team are changing his neighborhood, changing our community, and maybe most importantly, changing lives of individuals. And specifically on Southeast Fort Wayne, I grew up in that area, and I went to what was Ben Geyer High School, or junior high, I should say. And I just love that neighborhood, and I think we're all should have the ability to have nice places to live and safe places to live.
When you think about giving someone that base, that platform that they can dream from, how does that touch you personally to think about?
I just know that anything's possible. 40 years ago, I started very humbly in my VW bus, and you think about what Javier and his team are doing in that neighborhood, I can't imagine what it could look like in 40 years. And I just want to do everything I can to encourage him, encourage his team, and encourage the individuals that get to live in those homes, and to be able to give someone a jump start like that, you know, it's not going to solve everything for them, but it clearly gives them a great platform to grow and learn from.
As a tremendous leader yourself, what do you see in Javier that makes him such a special leader of this organization and his church?
Oh man, there are so many things. I love Javier. He is a great leader. He inspires others. He has a vision that most of us don't have. And he really gets people to believe and to get on the train and go with him. And that's why I got inspired several years ago and try and encourage others. And I encourage everyone to try and help what Javier and his team are doing.
It's just so great to hear why so many community leaders believe in what we're doing here at Bridge of Grace. And I'm actually here with Javier Mondragon, the CEO and founder of Bridge of Grace. Thanks for sitting down with us today. So one of my favorite things to hear about is your story about why you chose Southeast Fort Wayne. You are not from here, but God brought you directly to this location. So can you tell us a little bit about that journey that led you here?
Sure. I never thought I would be coming to a place where it's cold like it is.
Right.
And this morning you just reminded me. You know, I grew up in Mexico. I grew up in a single parent home, single mom, and I was the youngest of 6. And so I never thought I would be here in Fort Wayne, that God would choose me to come here. So yeah, that was my background. Grew up in a very violent neighborhood where you know, the gangs were part of the biggest problems there. And so at the age of 12, I joined the gang, and basically from 12 to 17 years old was probably the worst times of my life, if I can say that. And at 17, my mom passed away, and I had a brother who became a Christian in Mexico, and then he moved to the U.S. And so when he came to the funeral, he actually invited me and said, "Hey, can you want to get out of this environment, what's going on right now?" And I said yes, and so I got out. I came with him to live in the state of Arkansas, which I know you also were there.
Still very different, right?
I
From
know
Mexico.
it's still very different, yeah. But that's what I came, and then 2 weeks later, I came to Christ. About a year after, God called me into ministry, and I didn't know where I will end up. But this is our first ministry. Came to Fort Wayne, to the Southeast, and started a church here.
Yeah. So when you and Annette and the kids moved here, things looked very different than they do today, right? The neighborhood was completely different. So you chose to move right next door to the church. Mm-hmm. And can you tell us a little bit about how living here in Mount Vernon Park, the neighborhood, just really increased your mission?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, my wife and I moved here. We had no children then in 2008, and now we have 4 children. And so we have grown. The house has grown. But yes, we came, and living here in the community really changes your perspective. And we chose to move here because we know that by changing an environment, it's better to do it from within. Is living among the people that you serve is the best way. And so we live here, and as I started to get to know my neighbors, right, I started to get to know the kids in the neighborhood, I realized that a lot of the kids experience like the same struggles that I experience, and a lot of single homes here, single mothers also. And so I started to see these challenges and these struggles that people experience and kind of relate a lot to what's going on here. And then that kind of shaped my mission on, what are the type of programs that we had to do. And so we started with one, for example, from the church called Adopt a Block. Adopt a Block was basically going out into the community and adopting a block physically every other week and just picking up trash, mowing the yards for our neighbors, doing small repairs outside their homes. And that's how we started. That was the beginning. The second program we started after that was an after-school program. We have a school across the street that we love, Levanskat Academy. And I went and talked to the principal, and I asked the principal, what can we do? Is there anything we can do to help? And she told me, well, there's always a need for help with the children. They always falling behind on reading or homework. And so we started with 10 children back in 2012, hands-on homework. So that was the beginning.
10 children, and it looks completely different today, right? You've
does.
grown so much. So we know your family's grown, Bridge of Grace has grown. How is Bridge of Grace different today? What does it look like?
That's a very important question. I think, like everything, we evolve, right? We had 10 children then. We have more than 75 children that we serve today in after-school programs. Our focus then was just education, crime prevention programs, and life skills for adults. But we knew that was not enough, to be able to lift up a community like this, to bring it back to life, back in 2008 when the recession hit. There were a lot of vacant homes. It looked very run down because many vacant homes in the neighborhood. So we evolved basically as we were working with children and knowing what the needs were, that it was more than just homework, more than just reading. We had to really move into helping in a holistic way. And so we decided to take the neighborhood, our neighborhood, the Mount Vernon Park, as in a holistic approach. And so today, back in 2018, we actually had to change and kind of revisit our vision, our mission. And today, our vision statement, basically, this is how it reads. Our vision is we are a faith-based community development organization building thriving and sustainable neighborhoods in Southeast Fort Wayne. And so that's our vision. Our mission is at Bridge of Grace, we endeavor to empower our neighbors to build on their God-given spiritual, academic, physical, and emotional strengths that build and to have a better community. But I think the question you asked, how are we different today? I asked myself that question because I want to make sure that, there's a lot of great organizations like the Boys and Girls Club, like Youth for Christ, that we partner with, we love. But I was thinking, how are we, Bridge of Grace, are different? And what we do is making a difference. And so we come up with these 5 different distinctives. One is we are a Christ-centered. So we are a Christian organization that know that at the center of everything that we do is Christ. And so we try to share the gospel and let people know that Christ is the one who can transform their lives forever. He did it for me, and so he can do it for others. We are holistic, and so that means that we take the child, but we take the whole life of the person, right? Is the physical needs, is the emotional needs, is the spiritual needs, and so we know that. And we do that with our neighborhood as well. We are incarnational. And so that's probably one of the things that, I'm most excited about. Out of 13 different staff members of Bridge of Grace, half of them live here in the neighborhood. And so I'm just, I think, again, like I said, living in a neighborhood among the people that you serve is a big difference. It makes a big difference. So we are incarnational. We're also place-based. And so what that means is our mission or our vision is to transform Southeast. But there are 50 neighborhoods in Southeast. And so for us to be more effective is we take one neighborhood at a time, right? And so we started with our immediate neighborhood, which is the Mount Vernon Park neighborhood. And we decided to adopt this neighborhood to focus our attention and all of our efforts here, and then create a model that we can replicate in other neighborhoods. And so we're already moving into another neighborhood, but doing 2 for the following years. But we are place-based. And so then the last one is that we are a strength focus. And I think that's different, and that's something we learn with time, right? When we came, we were looking for the needs. We were looking for what the problems that we had in the community. But we realized that that's probably not the best approach. The best approach is really to look for what is right? And instead of looking for what is wrong, look for what is right. What's good about this community? And what are the strengths and what are the assets that we can build on? And so starting with people, right? People are the best assets in these type of communities. And so that's what makes us different today.
You guys have, or we do, I guess now as I'm a new staff member,
That's right.
We have so much going on all the time. Will you tell us what excites you most about Bridge of Grace right now?
Thank you. Yes, you know what? You're right. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of pressure sometimes. This year, 2020, with the pandemic and all the things that are going on, is overwhelming, not just for me, I know for everybody. And so, but there was one story that I kind of God probably put that story, that person in front of me that day because I needed it. We were at this event outside in the parking lot, and it was like, those times when I was there, but I was not there, right? Maybe physically I was there, but my mental, my mind was not there. But I saw a lot of people that were enjoying that event that we had. It was an event that we created with having people from our neighborhood. We had a really good attendance. So it was exciting to see, but again, it's just so much going on in my life and in my mind that I couldn't concentrate. But this lady come, almost towards the end of the event. And she's been one of the people that have been coming for the last 3 months to receive help with our food distribution that we did over for COVID-19 as a response. And she came and she just said, I know you're the pastor. I don't know how she knew, but she found out. And she said, before I leave, I just wanted to come and say thank you. I thank you because I really love the opportunity for me to come and be able to get help. I lost my job back in March. And for me to be able to come and just, be able to know that I have food for me and my kids, it's just so good to me. She said, on the way here, from home, I went through downtown, and there was people protesting about the racial issues that are going on. And she said, that's a big problem for me. Like, I feel this burden. She was a Hispanic person, but, she said, I brought my kids. I come to this parking lot, my kids are playing, and I see kids playing from different backgrounds, different colors, and it just kind of reminded me that there is still good in the world. This is how she said it. And she said, I can be discouraged about a lot of things, but then I come here and I feel like this little time that my kids can experience, they haven't played with other children because of the pandemic, but they are so happy, they are enjoying. And, I just it almost made me cry that time because, you can be discouraged about so many things, but God still reminds you that what we do makes a difference in the life of people. And so that excites me.
Yeah, and it's not been overnight. It's been something that you guys have been working on for years and built that trust to make it amazing. Right. And I know that this year a lot has been done with COVID-19, and we have a great video to let you know what Bridge of Grace has done through the COVID-19 response.
Hi, I'm Raina, the Community Development Director at Bridge of Grace Compassionate Ministry Center. Here at Bridge of Grace, we believe in the power of Christ to transform lives and whole communities. A lot of you might know us for doing neighborhood revitalization that focuses on strengths. We see each of our community members as an awesome asset in our neighborhood, and we see challenges like trash and vacant lots and vacant homes as opportunities to beautify our neighborhood, to build unity, and to even reduce crime. During the times of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a need to directly address the urgent concerns facing our community. Concerns like food insecurity and a lack of access to educational materials and the internet.
When Fort Wayne Community Schools closed, we found the need for getting education materials into the homes of our students that we work with. So I contacted each of our parents that had a child enrolled and found out what they needed, and realized that there were very few households that had books or learning materials in them. In learning that, we put together what I called family learning kits, which consisted of some books, notebooks, some art supplies, a game for the family to do together. Uno was a popular one, and just provided materials for them to work with their children. Another need that we saw in the community was food insecurity. And learning that, we decided to start a program called In This Together, which is a food distribution site. We tend to have about 25 families a week We get our food from Community Harvest Food Bank. I go and pick some up. Some of it gets delivered here. We have it all set up in the gym, so volunteers are able to come. They know who they're packing for. They pack a box, know the family size, and we line them up and they come through the parking lot. We have a door that's open. We take that right out to them in their trunk. We're doing our social distancing for sure. We are typically masked and gloved as well. We also provide our patrons with masks and hand sanitizer for them to take along with them. We have found that many of our patrons who are in need don't have transportation, so we are able to take the food to them. It gives me joy to see that I'm helping someone, that this organization is able to help so many families, and to see the appreciation and the sense of relief coming from them is just, it's heartwarming. And I'm so happy that I can be a part of that.
Well, they make me feel very welcome. Bridge of Grace is very helpful, and it makes me happy to think that my little sisters have something to eat every day, because Bridge of Grace helps us a lot.
We just want to express our sincere gratitude to AWS Foundation, the Community Foundation, the St. Joseph Community Health Foundation, and the United Way for their awesome support of our COVID emergency relief efforts. We also want to give a quick shout out to the Allen County Public Library for partnering with us to provide books to our kids during the summer. So we're really glad that we can help families like Erica's know that somebody cares and feel just a little bit normal. But what is normal going to look like when all of this is over? While certain concerns have been exacerbated by the COVID-19 crisis, we realize that coronavirus didn't cause a lot of the things that are happening right now. It just made it more obvious to all of us. Now we can all see just how tough it is for our kids to continue learning, or even for adults to apply for jobs when they don't have access to the internet or a digital device. So in response to that, Bridge of Grace wants to convert the In This Together food distribution site into an In This Together community resource hub, where members of our community can apply for jobs, obtain access to the internet, learn a new language, and even receive guidance about their finances. And we're thinking about scaling that whole effort up to provide a community mesh network so that everyone in our neighborhood has affordable access to the internet. Now we can also see just how many families are either one paycheck or one school day away from either going hungry, missing out on life-saving medications that they might not be able to afford, or falling into a payday loan trap. In addition to offering financial assistance and guidance through our Community Resource Hub, we're also in the process of developing a community microloan fund, where residents of our neighborhood will be able to build their credit and become bankable so that they can avoid payday loans. If you want to learn more about these initiatives or anything else Bridge of Grace is doing, please feel free to check out our Get Involved page on our website at www.bridgeofgracecmc.org. So we realize that these small measures won't necessarily address all the big challenges facing our community, but we do feel blessed to have the opportunity to share Christ's love with our community in this way. Maya Angelou once said that love recognizes no barriers. It jumps hurdles, leaps fences, penetrates walls to arrive at its destination full of hope. We believe that if we all work together to capitalize upon our God-given strengths, abilities, knowledge, and skills, that we can dismantle the challenges facing our community, and that ultimately we can share that love and hope with our neighborhood and with the world. So thanks for being in this with us.
What a great video. I really love the way that Bridge of Grace responds to the community at all times, but especially during COVID-19 and other issues happening here in our community. You know, there's a lot of challenging things happening right now, but the mission didn't stop. In fact, if anything, it just got bigger. So we really need your help. So giving is really easy. Head over to our website, bridgeofgracecmc.org. Click the button, Donate Now, and you can go ahead and give what you can now to further the mission of Bridge of Grace. Next up, we have an amazing community leader, Raina Bradley. She is our Community Development Director here at Bridge of Grace, and she's going to be interviewing Kara Hackett from Input Fort Wayne, and I'm really excited to hear what they have to say.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. If you are just tuning in, welcome to Bridge the Gap. I am Raina Bradley, the Community Development Director here at Bridge of Grace. And today I get the honor and privilege of interviewing my friend, Kara Hackett, who's going to tell us a bit about a collaborative effort that Bridge of Grace had with Input Fort Wayne called On the Ground. But before we get into On the Ground, I want to tell you guys a little bit about Kara. So I'm going to take a glance at my notes here because I got to learn some cool things about you.
Oh, wow.
It's exciting. So Kara is the managing editor of Input Fort Wayne, which is a local newspaper that highlights inspirational stories from around the community. She's worked for the Journal Gazette, and she's been a columnist for the Huffington Post and written articles including No, Friends Didn't Trigger the Downfall of Western Civilization,
Oh, wow.
where she mentioned that if she identified with any one Friends character, that'd be Ross, because he loves learning, loves reading, he's super smart, embraces his intelligence, and perhaps because she, as a journalist, basically writes research papers for fun.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I forgot I'd even written that. Raina really went into my past.
I sure did. I enjoyed it. So given all of that, Kara, like I said, we had the opportunity to work together and to partner on the On the Ground effort. And I wondered if you could start off by just describing a little bit about On the Ground and Input, and how On the Ground and Input's coverage differs from like traditional media coverage, especially when it pertains to Southeast Fort Wayne.
Yeah, definitely. So Input Fort Wayne, for those who don't know, we're a weekly online magazine. We cover entrepreneurship, innovation, what's next for Northeast Indiana, and we're part of a national parent company based in Detroit, Michigan, all focused on this concept of solutions journalism, and that's really what our On the Ground program is about. In our work across the nation, we have done in-depth focused series of articles in neighborhoods or parts of communities that are traditionally either undercovered or covered in a negative light. And what we've found value in doing is going into these communities and kind of highlighting the good things happening there. The people, the projects, the neighborhood groups, giving back to their community, kind of defining what's next for their part of town, and telling their own story from their point of view. And I think that's what's been so exciting about this work that we've been able to do with you guys. You guys have such a strong anchor here in the Southeast Fort Wayne community. Bridge of Grace is one of those awesome success stories in the making of doing awesome things here, changing lives. And I'd been reporting on you guys, you know, from day one at Input. I think you were one of our founding supporters, and you've been involved with us ever since then. And so just seeing the awesome work you guys do here, it's been a real inspiration for the whole series.
Thank you so much, Kara. And I think what made the On the Ground partnership so natural for us and for you guys is that we both care so much about elevating the voices of people in our community. And I'm going to go back to that Ross quote for a second. So you mentioned at one point that Ross was the academically inclined guy who chose to be close with friends and people who thought differently than he did. And you also have mentioned that news stories can help us see things from other people's perspective, and that you can literally walk in someone else's shoes by reading about their ideas, according to neuroscience. So I wondered, given that, the power of news, the power of stories, the power of media, if there was one story in particular that had a particular impact either on you or that you felt came out of the On the Ground series and had a particular impact on our community.
Yeah, definitely. It's so powerful to me when I learned about the way that our brains process information when we read it. It really speaks to what you can learn from reading an article or a book or a story about someone. It actually is as if you've experienced it yourself. And so I think some of the things that we've seen with this series is that it's kind of provided people with a new way of viewing either their neighborhood or a neighborhood maybe they don't know very much about, as well as people and people they don't know much about. one of the stories that's done really well from this series was done by our writer Angela Stanley, and she interviewed a woman who is a Black woman who is also a gynecologist who works with mothers to help reduce infant mortality and maternal mortality. And she just talked about, the role that stress plays in a Black woman's experience in particular when getting pregnant and giving birth, as well as sort of the racial disparities that we see in healthcare, whether that's conscious or subconscious. And so I think it was really powerful to see a story about infant and maternal mortality being presented in a way, a point of view from this Black gynecologist who was able to really not only provide knowledge on the subject matter, but also knowledge on her lived experience as a Black woman and someone who's done a lot of research into how these issues particularly affect Black women. And since the Southeast side is a predominantly Black community, I think this story did really well and was powerful for a lot of people in these neighborhoods who had maybe heard infant mortality be reported on before, but not from this particular angle. So that was a really powerful story. We've also gotten great feedback on more community-based narratives that we've done. I know Diane Rogers, she is a local woman who runs the Omotayo Rite of Passage. They're a awesome drumming and dance program in the Southeast neighborhoods. And we did a feature on her, not only her current drumming and dance programs, but also her past. I think it was she's worked 26 years, I believe, with the Fort Wayne Police Department. And so she just has this really rich history and perspective of loving her neighborhood and serving it, not only as an officer, but also just as a resident. And she's running for president of the Oxford Neighborhood Association this fall. And so there's kind of a political angle to things as well, and just drawing attention to the importance that neighborhood associations can play in community change. And so I think those are two of the really powerful stories that we've told throughout this series, but each story has kind of lent its own lens through which to see, the people and places of Southeast a little bit more clearly. And we wouldn't be able to be doing these stories without partners like Bridge of Grace, who have helped us connect and get to know people, I guess, on the neighborhood and personal level.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I thought was really great about Diane when she came out is she brought, so the On the Ground series isn't just about the stories that come out, but it's also an opportunity for the community to get together, to have events, to celebrate with one another. And I thought it was so powerful to see Diane out, not only as the community leader that she is, but with her youth. You know, with the drums. I felt like that drum just felt like it was the heartbeat of the community. Really loved that experience. Thank you again, Diane, and everybody who came out to support that event. So one more quick question. We're almost done already. But I wanted to talk to you a bit about the future of input and how you see the future of our community. So in the Journal of Social and Political Psychology, I read this quote, and hang in there with me, guys, that said that media is the key to setting the agendas and focusing public interest on particular subjects. In short, it basically was saying that media doesn't tell us what to think, but it shapes and informs what it is that we think about. And so what I'm wondering is how you would think that on the ground stories will continue to shape what our community thinks about, and how it will continue to shape the future of our community in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, definitely. Well, a big part of this series was, not allowing ourselves as Input Fort Wayne or the media to dictate, I guess, what the narrative should be about Southeast Fort Wayne. And that was a big mission behind this. We wanted to be connecting with people on the neighborhood level, organizations like Bridge of Grace that are working on the ground, on the ground here, to allow them to sort of dictate what the narrative should be about their neighborhood and help shape that conversation. And so as we move forward, we're really just looking for ways to stay engaged with neighborhood leaders, stay engaged with the community in any way that we can. Maybe that's through events, maybe that'll be through ongoing article coverage, and it's also through some of the writers and reporters and photographers that we're gonna be hiring for input to do stories about Southeast and beyond. And so that's our real hope for the future, is to allow the neighborhood to keep shaping what stories are told about them.
Awesome. And if someone wants to get involved with On the Ground in the future, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can email me at editor@inputfortwayne.com, and please subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter at inputfortwayne.com as well. Click on subscribe.
And furthermore, Bridge of Grace is going to be partnering with Input to run our Interconnect series, where we showcase stories of residents from our neighborhood. In fact, you'll see some of those videos throughout the week. So if you want to learn more about Interconnect, you can visit interconnectfw.org. And next year, you can also see some of those stories featured in Input.
Yes, super excited about that. Thanks so much for sharing these awesome stories.
So glad you joined us, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Once upon a time, an old man crossed a bridge into a city that looked sad and dark even in the daylight. Can a city cry? Well, if a city could, then this one would. The Ferris wheel stood still and rusted. No one would dare to swim in the lake filled with trash and neglect. The gates of the city were broken when the flower man walked toward them, but he was glowing as if he knew a secret. Well, no one notices the flower man, despite his glowing and even his chuckling as he seems to challenge the despair, the division, the danger, and the darkness all around him. The city is blind to him. They're looking down the way people do when they have given up. The flower man finds a rundown house in the center of town and says, "This'll do just fine." Strangely, no one notices him as he literally glows with anticipation. The young girl is preoccupied with her boredom. The man sits in a bath but never feels clean. The painter stares at the blank canvas. The elderly woman carries too much. The thief is plotting, and no one notices the flower man. No one except the little girl next door. The flower man sets to work, replacing brokenness with beauty. Two little girls are just in awe. A few adults who brave a glance are mostly cynical or even offended. Most of the folks from the sad city hurry by without even looking up. And then it happened. The moment the flower man knew would come, he knew it would change everything. Just as the thief was plotting to steal the beauty that the neighbors still didn't understand, the flower man gave it away. A gift so delicious that the little girl next door begged her mommy for one. The milkman was plain old shocked, but the artist was inspired. The flower man gets busy doing what he came to do, giving flowers away. The city seems to whisper and even shout, "Life is coming." The streets are aglow with it. "Can it come to the fountain?" the little boy asks. "It is coming to my canvas," the artist declares. "It has come to my window?" the bathing man amuses. Despite the beauty all around, to some, life can be frightening. So the little girl next door says a quiet goodbye and is moved quickly away. But life makes the old woman smile, and the old man scratches his head. The mother prays, the beggar receives, and the thief weeps. Because life cannot be stolen, it can only be given away. The flower man has a cookout, and the streets turn into a block party. Dancing, music, laughter, and games. Loneliness is swallowed up by joy. The canvases are beautiful. The stories of the ancients are told. Intimacy is in the window, and the fountain is flowing again. Joy lights the night. Games and music fill the streets. Their hearts are pulsing with life. Their hands are filled to overflowing. They cannot see over it. They cannot see that the flower man has packed up his bag of seeds and journeyed on. The flower man leaves the city aglow with love, answered prayers, and hope. Why did he leave? He left because there is someone who needs a flower, someone who couldn't get to him, so he will go to them, and he will bring them life.
I love that video so much. So welcome back again, guys. This is Raina Bradley again, the Community Development Director here at Bridge of Grace. Also here with Javier Mondragon, our founder, grand poobah of all things Bridge of Grace. So glad we're back. We just want to tell you guys a little bit about our vision for a community and for Southeast Fort Wayne. But that video, it reminds me so much of this quote from Marianne Williamson, where she says that we are all born to manifest the glory of God that was within us, and that as you let your light shine, that you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And it reminds me of that because when the flower man saw that dilapidated house, he said he glowed. He was a light. He was a light presence of hope and love and joy in that community. And he saw the potential for others to use the resources they had, the painter, the little girl, to share their resources, to share their joy, to share their hope with that community. So when we think about Bridge of Grace, we usually stick with our neighborhood. and our scale, because we feel like we can get to know the people here. We can invest in this community. We can really grow folks here. But we have a lot of people that reach out to us and say, well, how can I do it in my community? Why don't you guys come to where I am? And we say, no, we don't want to come to where you are, but we want to equip you. We want to help you be that flower man, or help you be that little girl who can instill light and hope in your community. And that's why I'm super excited to announce that in 2021, we're thinking about launching a replication effort where we can really help to develop local talent, to invest in indigenous leaders, and to help others learn from our proven model of neighborhood revitalization in order to really help their own communities thrive. Some of you may know that in the past, Javier and I have had a lot of coffee with a lot of people. It's no wonder we can sleep.
That's right.
A lot of phone calls, and that we launched Lunch and Learn so that we could reach a larger group of people, folks in the tri-state area, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. But we want to create this replication effort so that whether we're tired or not, sleeping or not, wanting coffee or not, people can still tap into our resources. They can log onto a website, they can download a video of me or of Javier or one of our staff that teaches them how to do what it is that we've been doing. And if they do want to get us coffee, they can book a time or a workshop with us. So just really excited about that, really looking forward to that effort. But I want to pass it on to Javier so he can tell you guys a little bit more about our early education initiatives and how we plan to not only invest in our adults and other organizations, but our youth.
Thank you, Reina.
Yeah.
It's exciting. You know, so many pastors, so many friends or neighborhood associations, other nonprofits have called and asked us to go out for lunch or coffee and just share what we're doing. And I'm excited about that particular initiative that we're doing. So we decided about 2 years ago, the Bridge of Grace board met, and we decided that we wanted to focus on 3 different initiatives for the next 5 years. And so one is the replication of the model. The second one is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, which is the early childhood education initiative. And for that, we brought Kelly back in April. And the goal was for her to come and to establish this model, right, this business model on how this early childhood education center will look like. And so I'm excited about that because you're going to hear more about it, so I don't want to talk much more, but I just want to tell you why I'm excited is because I think that education is key to breaking the cycle of poverty. Mm-hmm. And so it happened in my life, in my family. You know, I'm the first one in my family that graduated from college. And so I just know, you know, my kids kind of have like this, they don't have a choice. they do have to do something after high school, and it can be college, it could be the trades, it can be something different, right? But there's like this value once you graduate from college, like your kids have that value too of education that they just do it. And then so you change generations. That's one of the ways of changing generations. I'm excited about that. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But then the other initiative is the economic development. And so we're doing that as well. And so you have something to say about MVP landscaping.
Absolutely. So education doesn't just mean what you know academically and what you know intellectually. It also means understanding how it is that you can work and navigate the workplace. So we founded MVP Landscaping officially in 2018. Yeah, in 2018, in order to provide mentorship and character building and soft skills training for our local youth. So we hire people from in the neighborhood, they go out, they landscape, they beautify lawns, but we want it to not just be a landing pad, but a launching place. And so we want our youth who are there to be able to go out into the community, to be liaisons on behalf of our neighborhood, but also to get mentors who can help propel them to the next level. And speaking of the next level, we have another exciting economic development opportunity that's coming up right now over with Fort Wayne Metals.
Exactly. So the different leaders in Fort Wayne, you know, like Scott Glaze at Fort Wayne Metals, decided that it was important for them to also come and provide jobs in Southeast Fort Wayne. And so you'll hear more about that too on Friday, but that's another initiative. The economic development is an initiative that we have big plans for that, and we'll talk more about it too as well. Thank you for joining us.
What an exciting time here at Bridge of Grace. Javier and Reina, thank you so much for sharing the vision with us and that interview. And you can join with us and ensure that the mission and the vision and the work that God has planned will continue into the rest of this year and next year. So join us tomorrow as we focus on education right here, YouTube and Facebook at 12:30. Be sure to share this with your friends so they are aware and can join the mission as well. Thank you so much, and thank you to A Better Man Production from Columbia City. We could not have done this without them. Chris and his team are incredible. So thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.